has done a lot in this county. Um, Again, this is Black History Month, and so it's not hard to find a documentary or video of some things from other states where people were marching and protesting and young people were doing a lot. But I need you all to understand that a lot of those things happen here. A lot of the individuals here in the Charles County NAACP branch led young people to integrate different spaces in this county. Restaurants that still exist today weren't always segregated. There were people in this county who actually led marches. As in my bio, there was a reference to the African American Voices of Charles County, which was an interview series that we created as a branch. If you have an opportunity, I ask you to watch Miss Wanda Woodland's episode. You'll find in that episode some really interesting stories of family members of hers who skipped school to sit at lunch counters here in the county, right? Places that you couldn't go. The Charles County Fair, there were 2 county fairs. There was one for whites, and then there was one for blacks that happened at the same time because they couldn't go to the fair together. A lot of those things happened far into the 70s and 80s. And so it's important to note that where we are today isn't where we started. And there were some individuals who were affiliated with the branch, and some who weren't. But in this case, for those who are affiliated with the branch, we pushed this county forward into the space where we are today. And so those 2 ladies that I asked to stand up were pivotal in the movement of the branch and the movement of this county in a number of ways when it mattered, when it wasn't easy, when they had families and children of their own. Again, there were threats of violence. All of those things that you may see that you don't think happened here actually happened here, right? And so we aren't that far removed. However, we aren't there anymore. It's the shoulders of those giants that we stand on today and applaud them for their work. And it is up to you all to find the space that you're in now, wherever you see inequity, wherever you see something that isn't right, to speak up, speak out. You have a power to do that. A lot of the changes that happened in this county happened because young people were at the forefront of making those things happen. Now, the adult branch, we did our part, right? We did our part. We did the legislation part to make sure that it never happened again. We petitioned, we went to Annapolis, we got our local elected officials to change laws so that way things that were in place will never happen to further generations. But that doesn't mean we covered everything. It doesn't mean that it still doesn't happen. There's still instances of racial hate that happen in the county, that happen in schools, that happen in elementary, middle, and high schools at the beginning of this school year, right? And so you as students have an opportunity to band your voice together under whatever flag, right? It doesn't have to be the Charles County NAACP Youth Council. We would like it to be, but it doesn't have to be. As long as you organize, agitate, and litigate, I promise you things will change. So I'm not gonna take much more of your time, but I wanted you all to know what the branch has done, what NAACP does overall, both locally and nationally, how young people of your age have done incredible things to move this county forward over time. And then I'm gonna pass it off to someone who was in your seat probably 1 or 2 years ago. And he can tell you what it feels like to be a young person and raise his voice, look for some assistance in terms of from the adults to help him out, and then push forward as he organized a bunch of young people to do some incredible things under his watch as a youth council president of the Charles County NAACP. So I appreciate you all for coming out this afternoon or today, taking time out of your schedule. You probably had some class or something if you chose to be here outside of your will. I appreciate that. If you didn't, we're here anyway, right? We gotta do this. So thank you very much.